All right, it's been a little bit of time for break, but the Scary Alvarez podcast is back. Welcome to the Scary Alvarez podcast, which has already lasted almost as long as every other college hockey coach trying to figure out how they'll ever catch Mark Johnson in national championships. I'm your host, Scary Alvarez, a Wine Island enjoyer, Sherry Wine destroyer, Jake's grandpa, and Cindy's plus one when she'll have me. And today we embark on a bold new journey with my very first Badger women's hockey episode. And to help me out with this, because it would be super lame if I did it alone, our two Badger pucksters, Lacey Eden and Anna Wilgren. Hope I got your names right. Welcome aboard.
Nailed it. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know this must be the thrill of a lifetime. So just stay calm. I know you've been in some big games. You've been in big hockey matches, Lacey, a national title match, all that. I know it's nowhere near matching the excitement of being on a Scary Alvarez podcast, but please do your best. I'm here. I'm here if you have any issues, and we'll go forward. Uh, Before we get into the questions, starting with you, Lacey, please tell my listeners a little bit about yourselves and your background, and then we'll get going with the other stuff.
Yeah, so my name's Lacey, and I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, number 6 on Wisconsin hockey. Grew up in Maryland, ended up going to high school at Shattuck St. Mary's in Minnesota to play hockey there, and ended up here in Madison.
Okay, well, Maryland and Minnesota are solidly number 2 and 3 ranked in those 3 states, but that's quite a cross section. Anna, how about yourself?
Yeah, I grew up in Hudson, Wisconsin. I played my high school there, and then played tennis and ran track as well there. And then I went and played at Minnesota State for my first 5 years of college hockey, and now I'm lucky enough to finish it up in my home state here at Wisconsin.
Awesome. And we'll get some feedback there. Hold on. Remind me where in Wisconsin Hudson is.
It's like 20 minutes from St. Paul, so it's right on the border of Wisconsin, Minnesota.
That is dangerously close to Gopher territory. And my unpaid researcher, Joe Ferguson, has informed me that you played at Minnesota State for some time. Is Minnesota State a big rival with the Gophers up there?
I would say no. Nowhere near like the Minnesota-Wisconsin rivalry.
Okay. I do know that in the men's game that the Gophers had a bit of a hard time beating Hastings and his Minnesota State guys. That was always fun to watch. It's fun to see that continuing.
Definitely.
All right. By the way, I like your background that y'all got for this event. You got some sponsors there, the big Motion W. By the way, the Motion W, I'm not sure if you knew this, that was my creation. I sat in a design room back in the 90s, and they said, Coach, we have kind of a boring, upright W. Bring us into the 90s. And I said, you got it. And there you go. So I hope you enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, great job.
Actually, it was an unpaid grad assistant who did that. Anyway, I want to get right to the point on this because most of my fans on here are big football and basketball folks. Let's start with you, Lacey, and you guys, and Anna, you can come in too on this. What's it like to actually win a national title?
It's the craziest thing ever. So I won in 2021, and then again this past year in 2022. And it literally no words either time. Just such an amazing experience to be on top of college hockey. So you spend so much time and effort working to get there, like coming together as a team, and then to finish that season out with a win, no matter how you get there. Like my first year, it was in an overtime game winner, which was so thrilling. And then last year, a 1-0 game, and both times just nothing hits the same.
Yeah, and I'm not outwardly trying to create any sort of bulletin board material. I know AJ's in the over there watching me here, but how satisfying, Lacey, was it to beat Minnesota and Ohio State on the way to that title?
Yeah.
I don't think it's any secret those are two of your biggest rivals. So I know you. I don't want to speak for you, but I suspect strongly you respect the hell out of those programs. So it would be like football beating. Although it would never happen this way. The Gophers and the Buckeyes or something on the way to winning a football natty. But that had to have a little extra juice there.
I mean, the Gophers and the Buckeyes are two of our toughest competition components that we play against. Every time we play them, the pace is just a little bit tougher, a little bit faster, a little bit more physical. Everybody's going, and to be able to beat them, especially you get to know these girls, the players you're playing against. You've been playing against them for 3 years now. So just to be able to beat them on that pathway there makes it that much more sweet, the victory.
That's great stuff. And Anna, being a Wisconsin kid and then playing in Minnesota for Minnesota State, seeing the title last year, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into what your motivations may have been to transfer in, but that had to be fun to watch, and you wanted to be a part of that culture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's no secret that this has been a winning culture since the start of college hockey. So definitely a drive for me to come here, but also I knew a lot of the girls coming in. So seeing them have success at the end of the year is just always exciting. I mean, it's a great group of people, and you know how much all of them put into the sport. So yeah, it was very exciting to watch them from a distance last year, and just knowing that it's a possibility for me in the future.
Yeah, and I'm sure you had a great experience at Minnesota State, made a lot of lifelong friends there, and probably respect the program and the coaching staff. What was it about Wisconsin that made you want to make that move?
Yeah, 100%. Those were some of the best years of my life. Like you said, lifelong friends. I still talk to most of them. Pretty close to every day. So, yeah, I loved my time there. But schooling wise, I didn't really have anything left to do there because I was there for 5 years. So, I mean, growing up in Wisconsin, very close to Minnesota, but Wisconsin nonetheless. I always cheered for the Badgers, even coming here for road trips and stuff. We had all our state tournaments here. So it was just always kind of in the back of my mind that obviously it's a dream school, dream program. So, yeah, I'm just pumped to be here.
What was it like to have to move on to a place with nicer weather?
Yeah, I mean, this whole city itself has just been amazing. I mean, living here in the summer was a dream, right on the lake, just endless things to do. No complaints.
Good stuff. We'll get into Madison a little bit here soon. So, I have some. First of all, before we continue, I have some Coach Johnson, of course, Mark Johnson, the Hall of Fame coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. He attended the same high school as my grandson, Jake Ferguson. So you can knock that out of the park the next trivia night you all have at BW3.
That'll be perfect. That'll get us the win for sure.
Good stuff. This feedback is happening, and this is the problem when your grandson and unpaid intern Joe Ferguson handles all your audio. Sometimes there's some audio issues, or maybe it's on your end. I don't know, but I'm going to look into. I'll get Macintosh a call. We'll get this pretty up for next time. By the way, of course, Jake is playing for the Cowboys against the Packers in the NFC playoffs this Sunday. Anna, I have to presume you're a Packer fan. Lacey, where's your loyalties?
Grew up as a Commanders fan. Commanders now, as they're called. So you can see we haven't had a whole bunch of success in that aspect.
I am so sorry. You grew up a fan of the Washington football franchise. That has to be
the football team.
Yeah, and then you moved to the Minneapolis area where the Vikings play. That is a really, really rough road. But now you are in winning territory again, being in Packerland. What would you say the team? I know there's some Minnesota folks. What would you say the team divide is as far as the pro football loyalties on the Badgers?
We're kind of from all around, so everybody's got their own team, I would say.
Yeah.
I would say she's the biggest Packers fan on the team for sure. Also, only player from Wisconsin, so that would make sense. We have a couple Vikings fans from Minnesota.
Oof. Well, Horbach and Lindbach Horbach and there's a couple of Badgers, and they were both Bears fans, which is about the Vikings are one thing, but being a Bears Owen Lindmark, being a Bears fan it's just a sad, terrible situation. We saw another installment of it just this past Sunday, and I invited them both to be Packer fans, and they declined my invitation. So it's sad. And if you see them on campus, give them my best. Tell them great game last Sunday. But
it's a sad pathway. I can attest to.
It's true.
The losing football teams.
But Jake Ferguson, my grandson, does play for the Cowboys, so it's going to be a little bit of a dance for me this weekend, having my beloved Packers playing at the Cowboys. So maybe Jake. Whoa, that actually happened with my previous podcast with Jack and Owen, and Lindmark got up and did the same thing. So you guys have the. I gotta give Mac a call and get the budget up for the display.
Let's take a lap every question. We'll take a lap.
Fair enough. So, as you well know, playing for Coach Johnson, he's a very stately, as far as like the media and how he presents himself to the public, incredibly talented as far as talking to the media and things like that, and being very humble. But he has to have a funny side or another side that the public doesn't see. Without getting you demoted to the fifth line or the fourth defensive pairing, give me a Mark Johnson story, PG-13 Mark Johnson story that's funny, that my fans can appreciate, but isn't going to get you in hot water.
For Halloween, some of us had some fun dressing up on the ice with some fun costumes, and then the coaches weren't on the ice yet. And then all of a sudden, we were all just skating around, like being in a practice, just shooting around. And then all of a sudden, we just see this person in a red jacket and black pants like we normally do. But the difference was there was a mask over his face, like completely over.
Like one of those old-timey hockey mask killer vibes.
Yeah, just skating around like it was nothing.
And don't forget about the purple wig. Yeah. Also a purple wig. So you have a hockey goalie mask, and a purple wig.
Yeah.
And we're like, is that?
Yeah.
Could it be?
And then just eventually he went to the bench and said that's it, and took it off and started practice.
It's like nothing happened.
I love it. Just real low key, subtle stuff.
Yeah.
What Johnson needs to do is he needs to do the same thing during an actual game with no context. And I think that'd be legendary.
I think so too.
Yeah. It's like
probably not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, turning back to your own hockey games, I'd like each of you, and we can start with Anna this time, to describe your game in one sentence. Okay, your hockey game. I will go first and describe mine. Mine is flashy with high-end speed and a world-class sherry wine collection. I give goalies so many top shelves they're begging for 5 holes. Okay, that's going to be mine. You can't copy that.
Okay. I would say not flashy. Responsible puck-moving defense who can have a little offense if needed.
That's awesome. I love it. You have just the right amount of humble, but just hinting at the offensive puck moving upside that we all know you have, Anna. Lacey, that's a couple high standard ones there. What can you cook here?
How about just get pucks deep and change?
Oh,
wait, what was that? One more time.
What?
Well, I didn't catch that. Can you give that one more time?
Oh, I just said get pucks deep and change.
Pucks deep and change. Okay, that is us hockey minds. The three of us know what that means. Can you describe for some of my football and basketball fans on here what what the translation for that might, or the best translation might be for that.
So let's see. I'm trying to make a different sports analogy, but it would be essential to football punting. Punting and getting the defense out there. But I'm kidding. That's not really my style of play.
You're a scorer. You're a scorer. You are a sniping goal scorer. Is what my research has shown me. So you're like the flashy Heisman Trophy winning running back that gets a lot of touchdowns. That would be probably my analogy.
I would love the Heisman, but I would say I'm more of a shooter. Like I get my shots through and have a accurate aim, so can pick the places and that's how I get the pucks past the goalie.
Gotcha. Well, that gets back to my, glove hand versus 5-hole. I mean, I'm sure you know all the different, ways to get in there. And I do know also from my research and my experience watching games, especially in the WCHA, there are a ton of really good goalies and very strong defensive teams in your conference, as we saw just in the Final Four last year with how low scoring those games were. It's almost like it's a constant chess match between you and the goalie to find out how you're going to get the next goal in, right? Isn't that kind of always how it is?
Yeah. What's actually helped a lot for me recently is studying the goalies that we're going to play against that following weekend and watching video on them, because every goalie has their own tendencies. I know we just played Merrimack and I was doing research before, and I noticed that seemed like up high, a lot of goals were getting scored up high. So then got out there this weekend and was trying to hit her with everything up high. And that's actually, I scored a top shelf goal this weekend because of that research that I did. So I feel like it's super helpful to know your goalies, because each of them have their own tendencies and weaknesses and strengths. So yeah.
Gotcha. Well, your film study and research paid off over the weekend with another sweep for the Badgers. Congrats on that. Who do y'all have next weekend?
St. Thomas.
St. Thomas. Okay, and that's a Minnesota school, correct?
Yes, right in the cities.
Has there ever been any talk recently about a Big Ten conference for women's hockey?
As far as I know.
I heard somebody saying, I'm not positive if this is accurate in any sense, but if two more teams that are considered Big Ten were to join, or one more team, we would have a Big Ten conference. So that would be Michigan or Michigan State or something, if they added a women's hockey team.
It's kind of shocking that such great hockey schools with such traditions as Michigan and Michigan State do not have women's programs. That is almost mind-blowing to me. Well, I got some good news for you. You got UCLA and USC coming into the Big Ten this summer. So they'll just plug their teams in and maybe have a Big Ten hockey conference for women hockey.
A UCLA would be pretty cool. Yeah, hockey on the beach.
Yeah, I would like your chances against those teams, certainly early in their tenures, if they in fact go that direction. Let's segues into my next question. What series this season for each of you, I presume you may have different answers, has been the most fun?
For me, I would say the Minnesota one at Minnesota. It was my first border battle. And I mean, those games were just insane. It was a packed rink. And just coming in as just such a rivalry that's had so much history, and being able to be a part of that was awesome. And I mean, you saw in the games, it was just so back and forth. And we were lucky enough to get them on that second game. And I think that was one of our best games of the entire season. So just seeing kind of all of our hard work come together and just be able to come out on top at the end of that weekend was pretty special.
Gotcha. Lacey, anything different for you?
I think that was my favorite series as well, but I do love a good home series. So I'm pretty pumped for when the Gophers and the Buckeyes come to Laban.
It has to be. I know it's different. I mean, it's different and similar, obviously, to football and basketball, because there's some dominant teams obviously in those sports too. But when y'all play Minnesota or play Ohio State, you know in the back of your mind, there's a good chance that you're going to see one or both of them in a Frozen Four context. That has to be just wild, where every one of those series is like a Final Four preview kind of game, the intensity and whatnot. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, Lacey said it earlier. I think everybody just kind of has just a little bit more to give during those games. Everybody shows up and it's always super physical. And she said it also, all of those girls, so you kind of have developed just on the ice just a little bit of hate for them, and just it makes you want to go that much harder. And I think, like you said, just knowing that you might face them at the end of the year kind of just makes you want to prove yourself that much more every time you play them. Just show what kind of a team you can put together.
Yeah, that all makes sense. And you touched on something that I asked Lindmark and Horbach, and I want to see if you'll have a different answer on this. They were pretty diplomatic in the way they answered this. I'm not trying to get you in trouble. I'm not trying to create bulletin board material. Maybe I am. But if you walked into a restaurant as a team and the Ohio State Buckeyes or Minnesota Gophers were sitting at a table, would you all kind of go in and break bread together, or would there be a little bit of an iciness to that interaction?
I think if their whole team's sitting there, our whole team walks in, we're walking to the opposite corner. We're all friends off the ice. A lot of us like have good friends on the team, but on the ice, like as a team as a whole, we don't love them.
I think that's the right answer. I mean, and I have to imagine if there were a bizarro, scary Alvarez who was a Buckeye or Minnesota Gopher personality, the answer from players on those teams would probably be very similar. I think that they respect and they know individuals on the teams, but in the context of the team on team, y'all aren't going to be playing together. That's fair to say. Okay. CC Crawford and Devin Cunning and Devin also gave a similar answer. Like if the Nebraska Cornhuskers they saw them at Denny's, or not that you at Denny's, sorry about that, but like at a cool swanky Madison restaurant or somewhere else on neutral territory. They although they know players on the Nebraska Cornhuskers volleyball team, that would not be a particularly friendly interaction in terms of just like it's good. It's a rivalry, and that's the way you want it in sports.
Definitely, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so this is kind of when my audience gets to know y'all a little bit better. Take me through an in-season day for being a Wisconsin hockey player. You do not have a game, but you're doing team activities. What does that look like?
So we'll go through a day in the life when we don't have school. Like right now we're on January break, winter break, and that's kind of the best time of the year. We don't have to focus on school. We just focus on hockey. We can have fun as a team. Let's see, 2 days ago, snowed so much, and we got a text in our group chat from our captain, our beloved captain, Britta Curl. It's like sledding now. So we got the whole team together. We're out on the sledding hill. We build a massive jump. It starts out pretty easy, like, nervous going down the sledding hill. And then all of a sudden we start hitting the jump. People are flying this way and that way. We get the skis and snowboards out. We're doing 360s on the skis. Maybe this is probably not what Coach Johnson wants to hear, but it's about that team bonding off the ice too. Like we have such a good time when we're together, like in practice, we're focused, but then off the ice, like we can have a great time and we're really close.
Gotcha. That sounds like a lot of fun. And anything to add to that, Anna?
She did a good job describing that day. We just so happened to go to the Wisconsin Dells the next day. So we've been having a really good week this week, activity-wise. But, of course, take care of business in the morning. We have lift and practice and show up very focused for that. But, yeah, it's been super nice being here over break without school, nothing really to worry about. You just get to hang out with your girls. So
that's cool. Hey, where's the Wisconsin hockey sledding hill? Just curious where geographically that is. Is that Bascom or is that something else?
We
No, we
went
didn't go to Bascom.
observatory, no?
Okay.
Past Bascom. Yeah, if you like keep going past Bascom, you'll reach
Okay,
that.
that's about like Liz Waters, Lakeshore dorms, like that area. Okay.
Yeah. A little
Gotcha.
bit more of a grade to it.
You can probably
Yeah.
still see our drone if you want to go check it out.
You can probably hit it if you want. We have extra sleds if you need.
Yeah, I would helicopter in, as you probably know, and I would be escorted down by a couple handlers. And let's just say sled is probably not the right word for what I'd be using. It'd be more like a well, I guess like a bobsled, but it's powered. Toboggan, but it has all kinds of padding and stuff, and it's made by BMW. But it's fine. Well, I'll drop in next. I don't want to crash your party, but I think people would be wanting to take a ride in the Dons bobsled. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
Yeah, appreciate it. Just yeah. So this is one that kind of, again, harkening back to some of the questions I had earlier. If you have an off day, Madison, where are some of y'all's favorite Madison restaurants, places to kind of hang out and stuff? Not bars. I don't want to get into that, but like places where y'all just kind of hang out, unwind, and like the food.
Coffee shop girls. I love a good coffee shop in the morning, and huge fans of Sushi Express as well. Massive game day platter.
Yeah, sushi was Lindmark and Horbach both mentioned multiple sushi restaurants, and I can tell you that the hockey player cuisine and what was popular has changed dramatically in Wisconsin from the 80s and 90s, which would have been a little more of a meat and potatoes kind of situation. But hey, sushi's it's good protein. Where do y'all get your sushi from? Do you have it flown in by G6, or is it you do the local stuff like the Lake Mendota sushi?
You'd be surprised. There's a place right on, is it on Gorham Street? Or maybe what road is that? Sushi Express. I don't know. It's called Sushi Express, and it's like 3 rolls for like $11 or $12.
Yeah. So when we can't like go and catch our own fresh fish, like because that would be our first preference, obviously.
Yeah. Farm to table.
we settle for Sushi Express, which is pretty delicious. It's very close, cheap.
Good stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Well, you don't fly your own sushi in like I do, but that's okay. Not everyone is the Don.
We're not there yet.
It's okay. Just keep grinding. It's good for the youth of America to aspire. We're gonna play a word association game here. We're kind of on the descent here. What immediately comes to mind when I say the following things? And we'll kind of go kind of like a snake draft. We'll start with Lacey and then go Anna, then Lacey. But so Lacey, start with this one. Coach Mark Johnson.
The GOAT.
Anna.
Short for greatest of all time.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, I'm dialed into the kids talk these days. I know what the GOAT is. Being one myself, I certainly understand that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Anna, Mark Johnson.
Humble.
Which is amazing. That is one place where Coach Johnson and I diverge mightily. Daryl Watts.
GOAT.
There's a lot of goats here. Okay, well, I'm going to try. I know, Anna, you grew up a Wisconsin kid, presumably being a Badger fan as a girl. I presume the name Daryl Watts means something to you as well.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go Lacey Hillary Knight.
Oh shoot!
Can we throw another GOAT in there?
Yes, this is Goat Mountain here. I'm just going.
I would say leader.
Anna. Sorry. Captain America. That's two words, but
yeah. And if my memory serves me correctly, both a national title and a gold medal for Hillary.
She's been around the block.
Lots of decoration.
I recently did a Mount Rushmore for the Wisconsin basketball program for Bucky's fifth quarter. I think I'm going to have to circle back and do a similar thing for Wisconsin hockey. and that's going to have as many debatable, oh, they should be on. They should. It's because there's so many incredible players, and of course we can't do anyone that's on the current team. It's just the rules. But maybe someday we can be debating Lacey and Anna being on that mountain.
We can aspire.
Yes, why not? Absolutely. And someone asked me what the Wisconsin coaching Mount Rushmore would look like, and there'd be 4 Barry Alvarez's on it. So I think that's I'm just being honest. Okay, final question, and this is a big one. Tell my viewers something wild and fun about the Wisconsin hockey team that they'd be like, what? It can be a fun story, an interesting anecdote, a piece of trivia. You can do different ones, or if there's one that's collective. But let's hear something kind of fun to play us out here.
Okay, we're going to take it back to Washington, D.C. Last year, when we got recognized at the White House for the national championship. We got a tour of the Capitol and all of that. And so we're driving back to the hotel. Everyone's pretty exhausted after a long day of just walking around DC and all of that stuff. We get back to the hotel. We get off, settle down, lay down, about to go eat in 30 minutes or so. And all of a sudden, phone pops. This has to be at least 45 minutes after we got back to the hotel. In the group chat, picture from our teammate, Katie Kalowski. Guys, help. I'm still on the bus. The bus driver's driving. Where am I? She sends a picture in the middle of nowhere. And we're all what do you do? So then we keep getting updates. She sends a video of her walking up to the bus driver and being like, excuse me. And the guy's what? So confused. Doesn't know, and he's oh, do you want me just to drop you off here? And she's no, can you take me back? Where are we? Where am I? She's a girl from Minnesota, right? In the middle of DC area, 45 minutes out of DC at this point now, alone.
She got home alone.
Yeah.
She fell asleep?
We just left her. She fell asleep, and we just left her there.
Amazing.
In the back of the bus.
Let me tell you something. That was a harrowing story, but there are worse things that could potentially happen to a member of a hockey team if they fall asleep somewhere. And you guys didn't have Sharpies going or anything. That's good to see. But please tell me the happy ending here where she made it back to the hotel safely.
The bus driver took her back a little bit, dropped her off, and she called an Uber back. And we all greeted her with hugs and lots of love. And apologies for leaving her on the bus.
That's a great group of friends. I've never taken a bus, but even during the football season, I'd be helicoptered into the games while my kids were on the bus. But if I endeavor to check the bus out, I'm going to tell you, one eye open. There's no way I'm falling asleep on a bus.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
No falling asleep. You might get left.
Awesome. Well, Lacey, Anna, I know my time is very valuable, and you've appreciated it. But thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. And if there's anything you want to leave my audience of millions with before we check off, the floor is yours.
Come out to a Badger women's game.
Yeah, totally. It's an honor to be here. I know you'll probably be getting helicoptered away pretty soon. So thanks for spending this precious time with us.
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Really I know you are. Yeah, I'm actually on one of my wine islands in Ibiza, one of my Spanish wine islands near Ibiza. Right. It's not on Ibiza, with some of the DJ guys up here with me, but that's another story. But yeah. Well, thanks for hopping on, and have a great day, and best of luck with the rest of the season, and hopefully y'all have another national title at the end of the season.
Thank you. So much. Have a good one.